then you have to devote 8 hours a day to it, something you're unhappy, you're right. Pull the parachute.
Yeah. How many times have you heard when you ask a couple, like, give me marriage advice or whatever, just work at it every day?
Yeah, you shouldn't have to work at it every day.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you
come on.
Yeah, it shouldn't be it shouldn't be an hour and a half on the treadmill.
No,
it shouldn't feel like that. You shouldn't be working your ass off in a relationship 5 days a week to have a good Tuesday and a Friday. Yeah, I know. Some people say that's the key, and people say that's so.
I mean, I guess if that makes them happy, but is that really making them happy?
It seems like you're putting effort. You're not getting the match back in return for the effort. If you're putting a ton of effort back and you're getting a little bit of positive feedback on it, that's a bad ratio. And you need balance. It's the emotion and the caring and the time and the thought and all of those things that you're putting into it. Those are elements of work, I suppose. But if you're putting those into it and then what you're getting back is giant paycheck. I mean, if you want to use the work analogy, you're getting a huge reward back. That work doesn't feel like work. Mm-hmm. So you want to have one of those people who are like, I never worked a day in my life. They're still putting in the time. Yeah. But the reward they're getting back out of the relationship is fundamentally the same thing as that. Yeah. I think. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Is there a question that either you're waiting to ask or an answer that you're waiting to get? Is it like, I'm going to ask 1,000 people this question and there's secretly in the back of your head, I'm trying to find this needle in a haystack? Are you looking for the love? Are you hoping for love at first sight? Or when you get it because you don't necessarily believe in it?
I mean, I believe in it for other people, not myself.
Right. Are you disappointed when you hear as soon as I saw him, I knew? No,
I just think it's fascinating. I just interviewed this couple that he literally saw her in a bar and said, I'm going to marry that woman.
I've heard a lot of those stories.
29 years later, they're married.
Yeah, I agree with those stories. Some of that is revisionist history. Some of that is they assigned an emotion or a thought back to the initial encounter, which may have not matched there. So maybe they're like, oh, looking back, I should have known and I did feel certain things and I didn't know what they were. I hear way too many of I saw your mother and I knew it. God bless you, I think, but sometimes I think it's almost like a deja vu feeling. It's like, oh yeah, when I think back of when we met and then I knew this was the one, because half the time the guy's like, I don't even know if she'll say hello to me.
Yeah, but if you want to go to like that energy level, right?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, and that connection, that click, we're huge fans of that around here, where it's just like, if you feel something in a moment, there's no reason to, say check please at 9:00. You keep that thing going as long as you can. I know a lot of people who, like, our first date was 6 days. Oh. And I love those stories. Yeah. I was like, they didn't see a need to artificially stop the wave. And they just rode it and they ride it for a long, long time. It's just like, I felt stuff in this moment, in this place, with this person that I knew was really, really special and rare. And I didn't feel a need to just be like, no, I'll pause and I'll get back to this. Because it's hard to get back to that feeling once you find it. Mm-hmm. And I think it should be that way. I think it should be so rare that when you feel something in the moment, you're like, I want to see how far I can take this, and hopefully you take it 60 years.
That would be amazing.
I know, that would be amazing.
I love it.
So is that the answer that you want to hear? Like, I know, back to that question. I know it's a weird question.
It's a weird question.
But is there secretly an answer that you want? Are you looking for your parents and these other people so you understand them better, or you don't know?
I don't think there's actually a search that I'm going on. I really just enjoy...
It's all a search. Well, you have to have a purpose.
I do have a purpose, right. But I enjoy listening to the couples because I feel like there's always something that you can learn from somebody, right? Mm-hmm. We are constantly evolving people, and I enjoy all the new things I get from each couple, and it's different every time. And I enjoy that. I like that I find something different. I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll take that into my relationship, or I would use that, or I should be more like that.
Right. But you are taking this information and you're keeping it for yourself like you want it.
I'm sharing it on a podcast.
I get it. But I had a reporter. I got interviewed for Nightline, the ABC one, the late night one, a couple years ago. And we stopped filming, and the reporter goes to me, she goes, "This whole thing is really about you, isn't it?" And I was so startled that she asked me that, not that it wasn't true, but that it was apparent to another person. And I'm like, kinda. I'm like, all these questions that I ask, they're mostly about me trying to get answers that will not just benefit me, but will make me understand things on a level that, I don't know. I think curiosity behooves itself. I think if you ask enough questions of these couples, though, that those answers will translate into a skill set that is going to behoove you for your marriage and for the rest of your life. I would think.
Yes.
But it's not as much about the answers as about you asking the questions. I think the exercise of you being curious about this ultimately will make you ask questions of yourself, your partner, and your relationship.
100%.
Yeah.
There you go. You nailed it for me.
Do you have a celebrity couple that you're like, I want to talk to them?
There has been that I've actually reached out to a couple of people, like, and I'm like, oh, they're, but you know what?
Can you name names? Is there like somebody like, I don't want to talk to them?
No. I mean, I reached out to, I don't know. I probably shouldn't. I don't know.
Oh, come on. Is there one that you're like, they're a couple that I've studied in the wild and I want to talk to them?
Well, I mean, just a couple that I've met, maybe that she's, has her own following and different things. I have like Susie Moore. I have a couple other ones that I think they're great. Their relationships are wonderful, very positive people, and hopefully have them on the podcast.
And it doesn't necessarily, the one catch to all this is somebody who is in a good relationship for 20 years with one person doesn't automatically make that person better at being in a relationship. They might just be in the perfect situation with that person who's able to create this environment where that person can flourish. Because I've had people all the time been like, whether they're dating coaches or matchmakers or something, like, you should listen to me. I've been married for 25 years. And I'm like, not another person in the world would marry you besides that person. And I don't know what your deal is. So it's not just like, look at us. The good couples, I think, cannot clearly answer why. But they're like, you know what? I don't know. That intangible is the key to everything. That they can name 8 things of the 10 that really makes it work, and the last 2, because they're not quite sure, I think that's where the life is in the relationship. I think the 2 unknowns, that intangible, that, je ne sais quoi in it, that mystery ingredient, I think that's where the answer really lies, and it would be hard for anybody to get there, which is good. Mystery's good.
I love mystery.
Yeah.
You need a little mystery in life, right?
I think. I mean, life is a mystery.
It is.
All right. To answer one mystery here.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I was actually going to circle back around that question that you asked.
Circle back.
Okay. Just for a second, and then we can go to the mystery.
Okay.
But I think you're right. Okay. If I'm going to be totally honest and raw.
No, lie to everybody here. Yeah.
Raw and vulnerable right now. I would say I've always grown up, like, I love romantic movies, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody loves The Bachelor. Everybody loves The Bachelorette. And I was like always kind of secretly wanting to go on one of those shows. Mm-hmm. And at the time I was in a relationship, a long relationship I'm not going to go on. Then I got out, and you go into the other things, and by the time, I don't even know who this Bachelor is anymore. Right. Like, I'm out of it. Whatever. I don't need. Well, now I feel like I guess I've secretly created my own Bachelorette show.
Yeah, I think you're right. See, you got to the bottom of the answers here. All right, this is your first time on the podcast. As you may or may not know, we play something called Worst Date or First Date, which means you have to give us either the worst date you have ever been on or the absolute greatest first date you've ever been on. Your choice.
I guess I could go with worst date.
All right.
Why not?
An audience favorite, the worst date.
Worst date was I was supposed to go meet up with this guy on Hinge. It's a little complicated. There's a couple elements to this story we're just going to talk about for a second. But am I supposed to say the app, by the way?
Sure.
Okay.
People like Hinge.
Okay. Hinge is great. So anyways, I said, hey, do you want to grab drinks at 8:00 tonight? He goes, oh, sorry, I can't. So we're texting. We're having some good banter. He's like, how about now? There's a Publix. I don't know if everybody knows what Publix is, but supermarket.
Publix is the world's greatest supermarket, mostly in the Southeast. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a bar at Publix. I was like, oh, really? Like, this is new. Okay, I'm game. I'm down for trying it. Why not? Like, I'm a yes. Like, let's try something fun and different. So let's go get a drink at Publix, the supermarket. Okay. But there's only one. It's called a Green Wise Publix, so it's a more organic, natural.
It's like the Whole Foods of Publix.
It is.
Sorry, Publix.
So he's like, "Hey, do you want to go to the Green Wise?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know where, and he sends me the address, and I go, I know where Greenwise is. Like, why do you have to send me the address? Come on, I'm born and raised in Boca. I know. Uh-huh. So he had made a joke that he's going to bike there or run there or something. I was like, oh, yeah, and I could be there in like 10 minutes. I thought we were just joking. A few minutes later, he texts me, I'm here. Where are you? I was like, oh, my gosh, I could be there in 30 minutes. I got to run home, shower, change, get over. So I do the whole thing. I get to the Greenwise on time. I walk in. I'm so excited. I'm proud of myself. I text, and I'm like, I don't know where the bar is. Like, what is he talking about that there's a bar here? I text him, and I'm like, hey, just letting you know I'm here. And he goes, and then I look at the address, and I realize I'm at the wrong one. Oh, there's a new one that just opened up. But me trying to be all cool, and I'm like, I'm from Boca. I know where to go. Like, that's so rude that you would text me the address. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you know what? Since they're close nearby, I can be there in 10 minutes. So I rush over. We get there. And he's like, hey, since you're like screwed this up. And I'm like, I know, my bad. He's like, first round's on you. I said, okay, all right, whatever, that's fine. And I was but I was gonna kind of offer it too because. So we get there, and it's a wine bar, and there's beer and everything, whatever. So we're sampling different ones, and then finally I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get like a Chardonnay. And he goes, okay, cool. I'm gonna get a Pinot Noir and a Chardonnay. And I'm like, wait, what? Like two drinks? I thought this is...
Were they flights or they were actual drinks?
Like a glass of each. And plus it's a red and white. So if you are a wine drinker...
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, right there. Okay.
It was an homage to you with your red hair and white skin. It was a tribute.
Thank you. So I was in such shock that he ordered 2 drinks for the first round. I didn't know we were double fisting this with... So I'm staring kind of at him, and I'm just like... the look on my face, and he turns to me and he goes, you know, you got the first round. And I was like, yeah. I'll just pay for this and leave pretty much, because at that point I was just, wow. If you drink red and white at the same time, this will definitely never work.
Poor taste, poor manners, bad etiquette, bad choice of first date places, like the grocery store. I mean, not saying people do go to like Whole Foods. I just think there's weird lighting with the bar in there. And
it's not really
how
romantic.
Drunk can you get? I know.
I mean, you could get drunk and shop around. Maybe
like
that could be
go
kind
look
of
at some produce. Like, I mean, there's ways you could take this, I suppose, but gotta go feel some melons.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I mean, it is weird.
Grab a banana.
Yeah, I know.
We could come up with a lot of things.
There are a lot of things.
This could actually be kind of fun.
Actually, not a bad date. Yeah, the guy was right. If he ordered 2 whites, would you still be with him? Damn. Merlot and Merlot. Yeah, a white and a red ordered at the same time.
Right?
He didn't like pour them into one glass.
I didn't know what he was doing with them. I was going to see if this is an science experiment.
Did you ask? Did you be like, are you parched?
I couldn't even get the words out because I was so shocked that he ordered a red and a white.
Yeah, that's bad on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
He would mismatch the furniture in your kids' rooms. Yeah,
it would be terrible.
Good to pull the parachute.
Yeah. Had to pull it.
If that's the worst date you've ever had, that's not bad. That's not a good date.
It's not a good date. No, thank God I haven't had like a terrible date.
Yeah, but that's not good.
It's not great. No, it was just like, and then I was trying to figure out how fast I could get out of this date and what's the appropriate time, right? Because I'm like, well, I would like to leave now, but I can't just leave him here with 2 glasses. I have 1, so I'm just like sucking them, sipping on my drink. I don't suck my
sucking on my beverage.
Okay, yeah. So I'm sipping on my wine. And I'm like, okay, it's got to be like at least almost an hour at this point. And he's only finished like 1. I'm like, he has a whole nother one to go. This is crazy.
Oh, so he wasn't alternating sips.
No.
Props for that.
Okay, all right. We'll give him a little bit of credit. But he had this big watch on, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at it. I'm like, wow, only 15 minutes has gone by.
Just hanging there like Stairmaster time.
Yeah. And I was like, there's no way. So I'm like, okay, how much longer? Maybe like 15 minutes past my finished drink. I don't want to order another one. I want to get out of here as fast as possible. So I look again at his watch, like I don't know, it felt like 15 more minutes later or more, 30 minutes later. It hadn't moved. I'm like, time is not standing still with this guy. There's no way. It's not that wonderful.
Yeah.
So finally I did like one of those, I think my phone is ringing. Oh, let me just grab it. I look and it's way past the time I'm allowed to leave. Mm-hmm. So I just said to him, I was like, oh, you know what? I have the dinner plans because this was earlier.
Right.
Oh, and I found out why he couldn't meet me later at 8:00.
Why?
Was just because he didn't want to.
Oh.
Yeah. He was just like, I'd rather stay in and do nothing. And then he wanted to continue hanging out with me.
Not a free drink. He just want 2 free drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good date. It's not a good date. But